holding meeting with Peter Obi to be able to, request Mr. Peter Obi to step down for him. That is
breaking. Nigerian politics is about to shake again. Reports say former President Goodluck Jonathan is secretly holding talks with Peter Obi ahead of the 2027 election. And the gist is hot. This PDP chieftain went on live TV to spill what he heard. He reacts to this report of Goodluck Jonathan planning a huge comeback and has been meeting Peter Obi, asking him to step aside for his presidential run. He says, this is proof that serious political moves are already happening behind the scenes. And if this politician finally declares, many Nigerians could throw their full support behind him. Watch this video. I will be back to share my thoughts.
Yes, he's a Nigerian. And as a Nigerian, he has the right to aspire. He has a right to aspire to become president again because he has a remaining term that he has not yet executed. And that will also depend on Nigerians. If Nigerians desire him, they will give him the chance. There are so many allusions to the fact that he's interested. Quite a lot of people, in fact, I will say, I was the first person to come public with it, to say Jonathan may contest, but nevertheless, up to now, there is no refutal or any other means of denying that my story is not correct. In fact, the story is gaining momentum, such that this morning on another platform, an international platform, the Hausa Internet, it was reported that he is holding meeting with Peter Obi to be able to, request Mr. Peter Obi to step down for him. That is to tell you that there is something brewing under the air, and Jonathan, has given Nigerians what they have lost within the APC years. He has given them confidence. He has given them a sense of nostalgia. People now think, during Jonathan, I used to buy rice now at 8,000 naira per bag. How come it is now 120, 100, and maybe just of recent it has come to about 90, 80, What is really happening? Why is the inflation affecting the naira? Or there was no free fall of the naira. As at the time Jonathan left office, the dollar to naira appreciation rate was $1 to 198 naira. So which means that he was able to manage the float for the naira float to the extent that our currency was not so devalued as to look almost using late General Idi Amin's words, shit money.
So, Mr. Sani, if we get you correctly, this is the direction of the thinking of the opposition, the People's Democratic Party.
If Jonathan returns to the race, will Nigerians choose experience over change in 2027? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more trending political news.
That there may be a groundswell of support within the rank and file of the party to bring back former President Goodluck Jonathan to contest the 2027 election. And if you're saying that he will complete the tenure of the South, which is 4 years, and he cannot by law anymore contest after that, what you're saying is that the PDP is prioritizing zoning above the interests of Nigerians. So it's not about what Nigerians really need now. It's about what the PDP is pushing such that power can return to the north. So the PDP is more concerned about power returning to the north than what Nigerians really need for transformation.
No, now, I don't know what you mean by interest of Nigerians. Who defines the interest of Nigerians? The interest of Nigerians is to ensure equity, fairness, and justice. That's the interest of Nigerians. And how will Nigerians be judged as to what constitutes their own interest? What constitutes Nigeria's interest is when they decide who they want and at what time they want him. It is not about any other thing, because if it is transformation, Goodluck has been tried, trusted, and tested, and he has the capacity to deliver. So why would Nigerians reject him? If he knows himself that Nigerians will reject him, he will not even agree to all the calls being made for him to join the race. So he knows that Nigerians at the moment are looking for not a messiah, because we cannot get a messiah in Nigeria, but we can get somebody nearer to a messiah. And that most times in the north, in fact, the current thinking is that if Goodluck Jonathan comes back, price of rice per bag will return back to 8,000, even though that is not correct. But because they believe that he has a magic wand, that there is something he can do to change the current dynamics, the economic dynamics, the security, even though security was one of the issues that affected him, but he was tackling it very well. At the time he was in power, he got the South African mercenaries who are experts in counter-insurgency attacks, and they came in, and we tried to buy so many machines. They were using the Lily law in America to deny us, so we had to go to Belarus and some other East African Eastern countries to go and buy them. We bought some of our tanks at that time. Even Boko Haram, as at that time, when those tanks were coming in, they normally call those tanks Ebola. Why do they call them Ebola? They call them Ebola because those tanks do not, no EIDs sent to them will damage them, and they can step on landmines.
Mr. Sani,
they can step on landmines.
But my apologies, I see that you're really marketing Goodluck Jonathan. Whether or not he chooses to accept is a different.
To that extent, I'd like to ask that, is this not an uncanny admission that politicians cannot be trusted when they make promises during campaigns, that it is only, a strategy to get into office, and they're not necessarily telling Nigerians the truth?
No, the issue is not about politicians' reactions, but sometimes it is the followers' reactions to these issues. Now, Mr. Peter Obi could be very sincere. After I made that comment, some other people followed up the comments, and some even went further to say that even if he went to the shrine to swear, they will not believe him. Some others said he's just, giving tales by moonlight. But by whatever way they are trying to address him, the issue I raise is not about Obi's integrity, but about how he panders with his supporters. Now, we all know that his supporters will not agree that while the Constitution says you are supposed to do 2 terms, and then you are giving promises for 1 term. Perhaps more importantly, if his performance in the first term, is something to write home about, they will now urge him to continue. So there are so many obstacles to that promise. It is a promise made, but may not be a promise kept. So the issue is not whether Obi will keep the promise, it's whether they will allow him to keep the promise. However, I insisted on Jonathan because whether he makes a promise or not, it is immaterial. So we are not looking at Jonathan from the promise angle. That has been resolved. The law has already taken care. He cannot do more than 1 term. So if he cannot do more than 1 term by the provisions of the law and the Constitution, then the only thing remaining for him is to only do that 1 term and go away. And so the North will not feel shortchanged in the whole system, where continuity will be the watchword. The issue is the North also is desirous of getting the 8 years, since it has now become an unwritten law in the Nigerian political space that the South takes 8 years and then the North takes 8 years. And so if that is the case, it is better for the North to trust on somebody who will not violate that provision by, being instigated by followers to say, okay, look, we are doing well. You have already restored the economy. You have done this, you have done that. So please continue. So it is not a failure of the political system. It is the failure of the political followership, who are always urging, whether rightly or wrongly, for somebody to continue.
So, Mr. Sani, are you saying that even though you agree that Mr. Peter Obi is a man of integrity, you still cannot trust him?
You see, the issue of integrity is something that has to be with the person. Now, the point is, most times politicians tend to pander to their supporters. Now, certain decisions of Mr. Peter Obi, if you believe me, if you agree with me, are more or less a reflection of the collective agreement and understanding of the obedient movement. So he doesn't want to offend the obedient movement, and the obedient movement want to vociferously support him. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and that relationship, he doesn't want to hurt it. Now, if he makes a promise and his area of consultation are not in agreement with that promise, then there is a problem. That is what I'm saying.
All right. So this sounds more like, for viewers or for onlookers, is this more of the North, Mr. Sani? Is this more of the North trying to ensure power goes back to them than fixing Nigeria?
No, you see, the issue is, I am from the PDP, and most of us in the PDP who are from the North feel highly very shortchanged. Now, why we are saying this is because if you take a trajectory of leadership of the 16 years of the PDP, you will understand what I'm saying. You will discover that the North had not done much within the PDP. All the leadership from the PDP were from the South. Now, when you equate that to Nigeria, it means you are saying that we within the PDP should now accept that Buhari worked for the North and not for Nigeria. He has used his platform of APC to campaign and to win elections. But we within the PDP, we didn't support him. In 2015, I supported Jonathan. I voted for Jonathan. My house was almost, arsonists were in my house. They wanted to burn my house because they know I was supporting Jonathan. So, to me, justice is that within the PDP, power should move to the North. Even taking a holistic look at what is happening within the Federation. Taking cognizance of the fact that we have even come to accept that Buhari's 8 years is a northern affair. But within our own platform, we are operating a multi-party system. And if you are operating a multi-party system, it means everybody for himself, but God for us all, to your tent, O Israel. So, if you look at it completely, you will discover that most of the agitations for these things come from the PDP. We are not members of the APC. Buhari has done his 8 years, and then they say not has not performed. It is not that it is APC that didn't perform. It is not enough that didn't perform. APC are not performing, and so PDP during our time we have performed. So we are saying give a chance to the person who performed, and that the person you are removing, that you removed the last time, and due to the allegations of non-performance, has now come, that the rejected stone has now come back to be the cornerstone. He is now the person people are yearning for. Even in the North, they have a special name for him, for Jonathan, because he has done so much for the North. For instance, I can give you some of the things. In the 14 universities he created during his period, 9 of such universities were in the North. He was the first person to even think of the less privileged Almajiri, the itinerant education system in the North, to have created 166 Almajiri schools scattered all over the North, and there is no area that has not been affected by that Almajiri school. He also initiated the rail transportation from Kaduna to Abuja, the standard gauge rail line, and ensured that all the narrow gauge across the country were put in order. And so more importantly, the North was the greatest beneficiary of the standard gauge and the narrow gauge. So, just putting these things in milder perspective, the North has viewed him as somebody who is more not friendly. For instance, I was discussing with somebody yesterday, and he said I should just name one gigantic project that Buhari has done in the North for the North. And I was looking around, I couldn't find any. Then I reminded him, I said, oh, there is a school of transportation in Daura. He said, but that one was also not even his initiative. It was Rotimi Amechi who decided to do that and then go and notify him. And then he also did all the rail lines from Maiduguri to Maradi, from Kano to Kaduna, and the rest. But otherwise, he was not even thinking about the North. So this is my perspective of the whole situation.
So, Mr. Sani, do you think that someone like Jonathan, who a lot of, of course, when he was in government, they criticized him that the issue of competence, the issue of corruption, there were so many layers. Some people, they wanted any other thing aside Jonathan, and they were happy. Okay, Buhari came, everybody saw the results, and now President Bola Tinubu is here. Well, one of the big things he did was how he left office. I think that was one of perhaps the very first time we had a president, incumbent, not going to court. He was the first incumbent to lose an election, and he didn't go to court. In fact, that phone call with him and Muhammadu Buhari literally doused whatever tension was building up in the country, and for that he celebrated all over the world as a man of peace, and he's been traveling around as an envoy across board. Do you think someone like Jonathan is still interested in being president of the Federal Republic? Is there a conversation going there?